And good morning, Quad Cities. It is Wednesday, January 29th, right at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. It is time for Ask Andrew Live. I am meteorologist Andrew Stutzke, joined by the one and only.
Yes, we're back again.
Meteorologist Morgan Strackbein.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second week in a row.
Dynamic duo is back at it. And yeah, we had some really great questions last week.
We did. And, you know, the weather's continuing to be a little crazy for us around here. It's been really nice week so far. I'm really enjoying getting these temperatures in the 40s and even around 50. So I'm not complaining this week.
So excited. I cannot wait for the 50s coming back again as we go into tomorrow. We're actually going to get some 50s for the weekend too. So we'll give you 2 thumbs up for that weekend forecast. It's going to look awesome. We've got that to talk about. We'll go over today's Ask Andrew question too, which was actually a unique one. Corn husks being thrown hundreds of feet into the air on a clear, sunny day. What was that all about? I thought that was some of the most coolest video I've seen in a while. So we'll go over that. We've also got some space debris to talk about. If you were looking in the sky last evening, about 9:05-ish, something was flying through the air pretty bright.
Yeah, and Andrew just told me about this morning right when I came in. So it's very cool that somebody was able to capture it near us. But yeah, it looked, you know, if you didn't know what it was, it probably looked a little freaky.
Oh my gosh, are we being attacked? Are aliens coming in? Is another country coming in? Like, what's going on? So we'll start with that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the long range, what to expect in February. We're also going to go back to last February, because you were talking to me about this the other day, that last February was insane in the temperatures.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody, and they were just like, I feel like February always brings its worst.
Yeah.
And I was like, not last year. It was beginning to be spring for us last year. And she was like, I don't remember that. So I was like, how could anyone forget that? It was real nice last year.
Yeah, I mean, I would think we were smiling ear to ear on one particular day, which we'll show you coming up, because it was a very interesting February indeed. But I'll go back to what we saw late last night. This again was between about 9 and 9:05, and we had one viewer. I want to shout out Sam K from Princeton, Illinois, sending us this right here, the video of the Starlink satellite confirmed by SpaceX. It is one of their Starlink satellites that actually re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. And what happens with these things, I was kind of reading up a little bit about it. This was actually planned. Sometimes one of these satellites can get itself a little bit further out of orbit than they would like. And in order to keep us safe here and our skies safe, what they can do is they can maneuver this thing into Earth's atmosphere where it will burn up. And essentially the whole thing usually burns up. You usually don't see any debris that falls to the ground because of all the heat involved, but my goodness, does it make for quite a sight in the sky.
Yes, I would have loved to see that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's the bad thing about this morning shift, is we miss all this cool stuff that happens at night.
I know, because we're in bed well before you can really see anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. And it just streaking across the sky like that in multiple pieces, it is really something to see. So if you're curious about this, I've got the article on WQAD.com right now. Hit the weather tab. You'll see a link to it. There's more than 6,000 of these satellites at any given time orbiting the entire Earth.
Yes.
So,
a lot of them are not in use, and a lot of them do eventually burn up, but there is tons of satellites.
Oh, gosh.
Within pretty close distance of the Earth's atmosphere, so it's crazy.
If you could see the map of every little piece of technology.
It's all of these dots everywhere.
It just looks like the Earth is surrounded by just a whole bunch of metal and aluminum, and oh my gosh, it's crazy. So check that out. Now I'll give you a reminder of coming up for questions here, which is just about 5 minutes away once we get done with the weather talk here. 309-304-0888 is where you want to send those questions. We're also on Facebook Live right now, too, in addition to the WQAD 8+ app on your smart TV. So those are the 2 places to send your questions. I've got our text webpage open right now, so I can see your responses as they come in. And we also have our Facebook Live stream in, too. But weather-related questions, please keep it to that. Don't make it awkward, as we say every single week here for Ask Andrew Live. So let's go to today's question. Corn husks hundreds of feet in the air on a clear, sunny day with very little wind, might I add. And this was in Princeton, Illinois. What in the heck was going on? So here was the question that we had. What caused this? What was this phenomenon? And it was sent in by Nicole. And she actually gave me the video to go along with it. So I'm going to grab the video right there.
Oh.
Let's just see it. Yeah. You got to really, really look closely. But it looks like it's raining corn husks out of the cornfield.
What?
And you can kind of see it rotating a little bit. It's like, what in the world is going on? She said they were several hundred feet in the air. She said it was limited to a column, so it wasn't everywhere, but it was limited to kind of a column of air. So what caused this? I have a feeling she saw what we would usually call a dust devil, but instead it went over a field that was covered in all of this harvest debris, and it picked up the corn.
That's kind of where my immediate thought after seeing this video was.
Yeah.
But that'd be crazy. Completely sunny, not much wind, and all of a sudden you just see a column of corn husks.
Yeah. It's like, what's
being thrown around.
going on? Is somebody beaming up the corn? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly.
So, shout out to Nicole for sending me that question in that video. That was awesome. So if you're curious how these dust devils form, I'll walk you through the explanation here really quickly. So what you need is a warm day. Whether it's spring, summer, or fall, you're going to be able to see these things. You need sunshine that's going to heat the ground. And what it does is as that warm air rises, it creates a little bit of a vacuum that we need to fill with something. That something is typically low pressure. That forms in to fill the space that's left by that rising warm air. And as that air continues to rise, it begins to twist, kind of like a tornado, but it doesn't have the strength of a tornado. We're talking about much, much weaker winds. But all that air rushing in to fill that space, turning at the same time, you're going to end up getting these dust devils, and that's what it looked like there. We're calling it a corn husk devil this morning. But if you want to know what an actual dust devil looks like, I captured one a couple of years ago in Henry County. This was on a cloudier day, but still the right conditions in play. There was a dust devil in an open field there because we had been so dry. So it's the same process. We're just exchanging dust for corn husks.
Exactly. So funny, but interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do this question today.
Yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
We're doing it. Weather-wise, what we're going to be tracking here, then we'll get into February really quick, and then we'll get to your questions. Heads up, we are going to go ahead and do a weather impact alert for Friday morning. This is because it is going to be the rain that is moving in during the Friday morning commute. It's been a number of weeks since I think we've tracked any kind of rain.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. It's like a free car wash.
It will be, yeah. And
maybe wash off the salt on some of the road as well.
That is the big thing with me is like the salt on the road is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And, additional snow is not going to get rid of that. You need a rain. So I'm hoping this will do that for you. So just be careful on the Friday morning commute. It looks like it's coming in right during the heart of that. We're talking heavy rain, reduced visibility, some ponding on the roadways. I'll show you a future track here really quick so you can see the timing of all of this. I'm going to stop the clock once we get to early Friday, right about here, midnight first. There you see the rain coming up from the south and the west. Could even be a rumble of thunder near Burlington and Galesburg. And I swear to you right now, if any of you hear that down there, I am going to be so jealous.
Me too.
Come Friday morning.
Me too.
I would love to hear that. It's been so long. But here's where you see what I mean. Morning commute, especially south of the Quad Cities, it is going to be quite wet. Some heavier downpours there. Look at the edge of this, though. Talked about this morning, you get this northeast wind. It really cuts down on the rainfall trying to work its way north. So realistically, we could see areas up near Highway 20 that get nothing at all if this solution holds. So light amounts here in the Quad Cities. We'll move it all out by Friday afternoon, right around lunchtime. And how much rain? Well, it's not a lot for us here. But again, if you get under one of those thunderstorms in Burlington and Galesburg, maybe half an inch.
Yeah,
close to
easily.
That. Looking good. So we'll do the weather impact alert for Friday morning. I don't see anything beyond that needs an alert right now for the next 8 days. And look at Groundhog Day. Wow.
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 I'm excited.
Yeah. What a great way to end the weekend. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, get into February.
Absolutely love it. So talking about February, shall we go back in time to February 2024?
We shall.
Looking at all the high temperatures, what a crazy month. So the month as a whole was like almost a dozen degrees warmer than usual.
Yes, it was. I was looking up just some of the statistics, and it's like average high is usually around 35 degrees. Yeah. Our average high last year was 52. Average high. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
For February.
You got to keep temperatures up consistently.
Yes.
To get that much of a jump in your average temperature. Because remember, that's taking not just the high temperature, but the low temperature too. So you really got to keep things warm to get that to be that high.
Yes. Yeah. So again, being about 12 degrees warmer than average, that takes a whole lot of warmth. Or on the opposite end, if it was cooler, it'd be a lot of cold.
Oh, yeah.
But we were lucky last year in getting in early spring for us. And again, that day that's marked 79 degrees, that's the warmest February temperature that we've ever seen here on record. And people were out in shorts and t-shirts, probably sweating, because that's real hot for us now.
Yeah, and I was curious about the snow too. Last year, snowfall February was about just a little bit more than a half an inch for the whole month.
Yeah.
So we didn't get a lot of snow. That helps with this situation, and that's how you can get those temperatures like we did here at 79 in late February. That was not only the warmest temperature for that day, setting a record, but it's the warmest temperature we've ever seen in the month of February.
Yeah, and that's really impressive. And again, it's not to say that we can't start seeing warmth like this, but again, like Andrew said, since we, didn't really have much snowfall heading into February, we kind of got rid of a lot of the snow that we saw in the middle of January, last year as well. And the sun starts to get a little warmer, and it can start to build off that warmth, especially if there's not much on the ground. So maybe that could be the case for us. We still haven't seen much snow. We still don't have much.
It could be, yeah. I mean, if we continue to go through February, and if we end the last 2 weeks of February with no snow on the ground, this could be a realization again under the right conditions.
Yes, under the right conditions.
We'll see what happens with that. But it goes to show February is a crazy month. All right, last thing before we get to your questions, what does February hold for us here? We go to the Climate Prediction Center. These are the experts that work with the National Weather Service in terms of that long-range forecasting. You see some slightly below normal temperatures. There's a kind of a low chance of that here in the Quad Cities, whereas the Southwest and the Southeast continue to be warm. What you can kind of do is you can kind of draw your own jet stream. This tells you where the overall jet is going to be for the month of February, and that is right here. I'm not too wildly crazy about that jet position for getting us some big-time snows. I would like to see that a little bit further to the west. But
this has kind of been the pattern that we've been seeing kind of through January. So when you follow that jet stream, if there were going to be systems that bring snow, it would once again be just south of us.
Yeah.
So.
And it's so disappointing. I know. I know, you guys. I know there's so many of you out there that want the snow. The good news is we are looking at a fairly decent chance of above normal rain and snow in February.
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at rain. We definitely need it. We've been so dry. Would love to see a little bit of rain. But again, we'll see.
Yeah, we just need that cold air to be in here at the right time, the right place, and the storm track to also be in the right place too. We just showed you, anything goes in February, whether it's close to 80 degrees or we get buried in more than a foot of snow.
Yeah.
Anything goes in February, and same for the early part of March too. So that's what I'm saying. Don't give up hope yet. There is still time on the clock to get some snow in here.
Yes.
Thank goodness for my winter prediction. You're still winning.
I know,
You're still doing a fantastic
winning.
job.
I know. We've only had, what is it, like just under 4 inches?
Yeah.
In which I went 25 inches. That's still, I'm still wrong, but I'm still winning.
All we need is a couple 6-inchers or a foot, and you're going to be very, very close to the total. So it's not going to take much. And we still got to figure out what the prize is. Like, are we going to go out for a steak dinner?
Ooh.
We got to get something involved here. So yeah, we need to get with James and figure out where we're going.
Yeah.
Where Morgan's going for dinner, because she'll probably win the way it goes right now. Otherwise, that's all I got to talk about weather-wise. Things calming down in California, thank goodness. They're getting rain, so wildfires concerns are no longer there. But now they're talking mudslides. It's one of those areas you just can't win. You're either getting, too dry, too wet. It's hard to get that even split, so we'll keep an eye on that.
So shall we go through questions?
Yeah, let's see what we've got on the board.
Okay. Just have a question or a couple comments. Neil says, looks nice up there today. It does. It's pretty nice. We've got sunshine all across the area. Linnell says, good morning.
Ooh, good morning, Linnell.
And Zach says, are we getting snow Friday in Monmouth?
Definitely not that far south.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening. In fact, our in-house run that I just showed you doesn't even give the cold air enough time to move in to change any of this to snow. It's all rain. even to the end of it here. It's just nothing but rain. And the European, which I looked at this morning too, is nothing but rain. So unless the atmosphere is cooling quicker than what the models are indicating, this is going to be an all-rain event for us, even that far south.
And even if we do see a transition to snow, the thing about rain is it does suck out a lot of moisture, so we don't have much to work with. So, and it probably wouldn't even, if it does change to snow, nothing would stick after that. So it's nothing to be concerned about. I would just expect the rain for now.
How many times have we had a winter storm come up here and we were expecting big time snow, but the rain held out longer? And like you said, it sucked all the moisture away and then we got hardly anything for snow.
Yeah, and that also happens during severe weather season. You know, sometimes we get these two different systems coming in that same day. Sometimes that first system will just have so much moisture and then it just takes away all that energy for the second system. So it's rain that can just really choke things out for us here.
Absolutely.
Linnell says, I'm ready for some warm weather, a nice beach, cool drinks, and a good book. When will this happen?
Oh, bring the little umbrellas for the drinks too. I always love those.
I know. I hope it comes sooner rather than later. Connie from Aledo asks, how much does the wind interfere with antenna TV channels?
As far as I know, it really doesn't interfere with those much, if at all.
Yeah, I think the only thing that it would really interfere with is if you're still using like a dish, where the dish is like actually outside. But if you have an antenna inside, I wouldn't say that would interfere too much. Yeah, just because it's being kept dry. It's just the signal that it's trying to pick up.
Exactly.
Tim from Bettendorf asks, how accurate are long-range forecasts? Can you really predict the weather 2 weeks ahead?
So when it comes to the 2-week outlook that we show you, that 14-day tracker, the reason we call it an outlook is because we know there's going to be change. Your standard forecast is going to be most accurate days 1 through 5.
Yes.
Once we get beyond day 5, you're going to notice some subtle changes. So if you start tracking our 8-day tracker today and you write it down, you come back and watch us tomorrow, days 1 through 5 aren't really going to change much. Maybe a degree or two, but you're not likely going to see a change in sky condition or rain or no rain. As opposed to the days after that, you're going to notice some changes in both of those.
Yeah, so the 2-week kind of use it more as a trend, not really paying attention to the true exact numbers. But if you see a lot of 30s, then you can kind of, okay, we're going to be trending in the 30s. Or if you start to see a climb, it's kind of pay attention to the trend of it rather than the actual numbers, because in most cases, that's where probably the most accurate information is coming from, that we do know. We can see trends. Are we going to trend cooler? Are we going to see more active patterns? Like, do you see more icons in that second week that have more rain or snow in them? So that can also be an indicator that, hey, we could see some activity, but I wouldn't be like, oh, you know, like next Friday, they put snow. So it's you can't really trust that it's going to snow next Friday, but you can see those trends, basically.
Exactly. And when I'm in the schools, the analogy that I give the kids, especially the older kids that maybe are in middle school, is the farther out in the forecast you go, the more model errors you're going to see. So picture yourself, you're in school, you're working on a math problem, and it's a multi-part math problem where you have to solve one part of it and then use that answer to solve the second part to get the final answer. Well, if you mess up that first part, your final answer is also going to be messed up. And depending on how many times that repeats itself in the models, if a model messes up one time and we run it 14 more times, that error grows. And it's different with every model, so that's why we see that.
From Jeff in Burlington, are meteorologists using AI to help them forecast the weather?
We are actually. In fact, the European model now uses artificial intelligence in one of its runs. Yeah, so you're seeing that. I haven't seen it too much in use by the National Weather Service yet. I think that's going to change once we get, you know, our own AI situation figured out. I know that's been in the news a lot lately. So that's up and coming. There's supposedly going to be some AI when it comes to recognizing radar signatures, from what I've read, that the National Weather Service is test bedding. And potentially aiding with warning issuance. So that's something I'm going to potentially look into. We're working on that spring severe weather special coming up for the 8+ app. So I've got a lot that I need to catch up on the technology that's supposed to be changing, but stay tuned. I think that's something we're going to talk about. But yeah, we are seeing a little bit of AI starting to dive into the computer models. I'm not using AI personally
yet. I'm not yet.
Yeah. It doesn't write my weather summaries or my forecast for me or anything like that. But we will start to see it move in, I think, more quickly.
Yeah, I think that's it. Definitely, there's a lot that AI can definitely help with, and it could be really, really good and help kind of, when we're forecasting in the morning, it's really hard because we don't have all the time that we would love to dedicate to diving into every single model and multiple runs and putting together these elaborate forecasts. And like what AI could do is kind of help aid that to find things that maybe we can't dive deeper into when you get up in the middle of the night and you have to be awake and ready in just a couple hours. So that I'm very excited about what that could do for forecasting and good stuff.
I could see the broadcast side doing AI first. I mean, some news organizations, including our own, are already starting to dive into the AI. So just a matter of time before it gets to the weather side. All right.
Marcus from Knoxville. Is this who we know who it is?
We know who that is. That's my Marcus.
Hey Marcus. Does the sun seem brighter during the fall and winter months? And if so, what is the reason?
Yes, it actually does. And the reason for that is kind of the same reason the sky looks different, the blueness of the sky during the winter months versus the summer months. And it has to do with the moisture content in the air. Because when you talk about moisture content this time of year, we don't have a whole lot of it here. The relative humidities are low, the dew points are low, versus the summer months and the spring and the fall months when we have a lot more moisture, a lot more water droplets in the air. And you've seen how that can, really play with your eyes, and it creates all these different things like rainbows and sundogs. So it's really all of those little water droplets that allow us to see those things differently.
Yeah, whenever we get like a big heat wave with a lot of humidity, when we look at our cameras, you can just immediately tell that it looks hot and humid outside because of it's almost like a sheen.
Yes.
That almost kind of takes down like the vibrant colors that we're used to. And also if you think about it, like people talk about Colorado and when you're in the mountains, how blue the sky is. And that's because they're way drier in the mountain ranges than we are. So yeah, it just really has to do with that moisture content.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
Way to go, Boo.
Got another one from Carol in Galesburg. Why does the weather change so quickly in the Midwest?
Well, we are in such a fantastic place to live here because we are not really surrounded by a body of water. We are what we call landlocked, but we have all these different influences that try to come by. We have an active jet stream that sometimes pays us a visit. Not so much lately, it's on a little bit of a vacation. But, you're talking winds moving 200 plus miles an hour, several hundred feet up above the ground. You're going to move some weather systems through very, very quickly. And if we were closer to a body of water, I think our pattern here would be a little more stable. We know that water holds a lot of heat energy. It tends to stabilize things. But the fact that we're landlocked and the land is capable of absorbing heat and releasing it just as fast, that's why we see all these ups and downs all the time.
Yeah, and it also, I almost just knocked something off. Also, the position of where we are in respect to, we know the south is warmer, we know the north is colder, we're right smack dab in the middle, so we also get the influence of, again, depending on where the jet stream's positioned, we can get that warmth up here, we can get that cold down here versus, down south, even though they have seen it a couple times, that jet stream get powerful enough to drag down some of that cold, but it takes a lot more effort for that, and they don't see it as often as we do. So it's just really, we just live in a very special place.
We do. It'll be very hard for me to leave the Midwest, if at all.
I do like the seasonality to it, maybe a little bit less in the winter, but it's fine.
Yeah.
We get through it. And
we survive.
Yes.
We're still going to complain, though.
Yes.
No doubt about that.
Exactly.
Anybody else in there? We all caught up?
I think we're all caught up.
I think there's a couple that are maybe floating around. Well, we did get to that one. Yeah, I think we did catch up with everybody. I haven't checked any other pages yet. I'm not sure if it gets shared to the other social media pages, but we had another good round of questions today. Those were really good. Does anybody have anything else they want to ask about? Anything? Weather-related only, of course?
Yes.
Again, we're going to work on the spring severe weather special details with you. We'll let you know when we have an air date. I think we're going to have a meeting about it as early as next week, it sounds like.
Okay.
So we've already got some ideas floating around. I'm going to try and check in again with the technology progression because I remember the last special I think we did, I talked a little bit about that next generation of warnings and what those are going to look like. And that was some 5 years ago. And the people I talked to, they said, well, we think this is going to launch in about 5 years, and here we are 5 years later. So
yeah, which I am interested to see where that could potentially be. It's heavy technology, so it doesn't surprise me that we haven't seen much yet, but would love to see if there's been any movement on it at least.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to check in with the folks there. There's not only like Morgan said, the data side, but also the human element. There's a lot of research that goes into that. They go out, they talk to folks like you guys watching us. What do you think about when we issue a severe thunderstorm warning? What do you think about when we issue a tornado warning? They need your feedback because it's for you. It is for you, the viewers at home, to keep yourself safe. So any way that they can kind of shorten that message, make it more urgent, make it more concise, more easy to understand, that's what they're looking to do. So it does take some time. Just like, the next generation of radar, that's going to take some time. So we'll see what the latest is with them.
Linnell said, will the special be available to those who can't get the app? I think, can you get that app on your phone?
The WQ88 Plus app? So you have to do a little workaround because technically you can see our 8 Plus stream if you just go to our website.
Yes.
And you hit that watch live at the top. That's how you get it on your cell phone.
Okay. So yeah, there should be ways for you to be able to see that.
And then what you can do is if you have Bluetooth on your television or you have a stick, maybe you don't have the app yet or you can't get it because it's not one of the Rokus or the Amazons, just AirPlay your phone to your TV. You could do that as well.
Yeah, and I know that we do have some more smart TVs and platforms that we're trying to get on. So hopefully one of the ones that will eventually be made available will be easier for you to then be able to download it.
Before you know it, we might even be on your smart refrigerator. So stay tuned.
Steve says, do you see the storm track moving more north in February?
It's possible. We've seen the long range. If we look at the longer range models, the American GFS, the European, it seems every week, once it gets beyond that 14-day period, it tries to cook up some kind of a storm coming in here. It'd be nice if that would change. There are signs that it wants to change, but nothing concrete right now. I will say, when we looked at the 14-day this morning, if you look at the temperature pattern that goes out in that 14-day, it is supportive of snow. There's no doubt about it. You have cold enough temperatures that you can get snow, and I'll pop it up here. But I don't have any snow icons on here yet. There are some storm systems working through the pike, but they're just not organizing or they're too far south. But yeah, this is a good sign. This is what we would want to see as long as we can get a good piece of energy to come up here.
Yeah, because we don't want to be super, super cold because that's what we saw in January. You lack snowfall when it's that cold. And if we keep those temperatures kind of riding just along freezing, it allows the atmosphere to kind of build more moisture up a little bit more. So if we do get a system to come in, it could use that and bring in quite a bit of snow for us.
Yeah, so that's the sweet spot. We just got to get that energy. Got to get that energy up here. Fingers crossed.
All right.
And I think Brandy had a question. Brandy can you repeat your question to me? Brandy's our director, by the way, helping us behind the scenes. How does the lack of snowfall affect drought in the summertime? Fantastic question.
That is a fantastic question. I mean, in the most part, my brain immediately just goes to like the spring. And since we live in such a flood-prone area, when we're experiencing drought conditions, it can be good, it can be bad. If we get a ton of rain, it overwhelms the ground immediately almost, and then we'll see a lot of runoff, because it almost just gets absorbed and it gets really soggy and then it just doesn't know what to do, versus if there was a little bit of moisture, it kind of allows it to percolate more. But it's not the worst thing to be in a slight drought in the winter, as long as it doesn't get super progressive, which it's still not too bad. I would maybe like to see it back off a little bit more, but it's not horrible.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's a terrible place to be right now because, as you mentioned, the spring flood risk and things like that. I know a lot of people, I've had comments on social media, they're like, we need the moisture, but, it's only a level 1 drought, which is moderate, and there's 4 levels in total here, not counting D0. So it could be worse.
Yeah,
I think
if it continues to develop, what that could do going into the spring season and our severe weather season is when we have the dry ground, it can really, like, we'll see a system come through Iowa, and if we are so dry, you will just quite literally watch it fizzle apart because it's so dry. So again, you don't want it to get worse, but to be in a small drought is pretty helpful when we do go into the spring flooding season.
Yeah. And I can't help but think too, remember the first week of December, we froze so quickly that even if we did get snow after that, it's not really going to be able to penetrate the ground because the top of that soil is frozen. So, even though we haven't seen much snow, either way, it's not beneficial yet because the ground is so frozen thanks to it being exposed constantly. So, but I do agree. Yeah, I think this is going to help with the spring flood risk. The fact that we don't have a lot of snow melt, even to the north. Yeah. There's not a lot of snow on the ground.
Yeah. Once again, kind of similar to last year.
It is. It really is. Kind of deja vu a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get that spring flood outlook, by the way, coming up, I think, just 2-3 weeks from now, the first one.
Yeah. I think
About 3 weeks.
middle Feb.
Yeah. So once that gets released, we'll break it down for you. I know it's a little complicated when you read the raw files, so that's what we like to do, break it down, make it easier to understand, and what we can expect for the rest of the spring season in terms of the flooding risk. And of course, that's for our rivers, not flash flooding or anything, but we're talking about the Rock, the Wapsie, the Cedar, the Iowa, the Mississippi, of course, all those rivers will be included in that.
Yeah, so again, we kind of have an idea of what it's going to look like, but we'll have more information in a couple weeks.
Exactly. We get 3 of them, so we'll be doing all 3 a breakdown for you there. We're all caught up. I believe we got everybody. Looks like it anyway, I think. Linnell had one last comment.
Yeah, Linnell says, I was asked once what I thought was better, moisturized snow or rain. I said snow because it tends to go deeper down than rain.
I will say that the snow is nice because you get that gradual melt, especially if it's a gradual melt, so it can better seep into the soil.
Yeah, exactly.
Way to go, Linnell. She's onto something there. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Ask Andrew Live. We're going to be back next week, same time, right here on the WQ80 A+ app at 9 o'clock. That is on a Wednesday morning. I'll see you coming up later this morning on GMQC at 11. Have a great Wednesday, Quad Cities.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8+ app everywhere you stream.